Our story begins not in a jungle or a deep ocean, but in a humble field under the cool, dark soil. Here a remarkable vegetable grows, the sugar beet. It may not look like much with its pale, lumpy body and a crown of green leaves reaching for the sun, but it holds a sweet secret inside. These beets thrive in temperate climates where the seasons are just right, not too hot and not too cold. Farmers carefully plant tiny seeds in the spring, and all through the summer they watch as the beets grow plump, storing energy from the sun in the form of sugar deep within their roots. This is nature's own way of creating a hidden pantry of sweetness, waiting patiently beneath the earth for the right moment to be revealed. As autumn arrives, the air turns crisp and the leaves change color. This is the signal that the beets are ready. A great harvest begins, a truly impressive sight to behold. Huge, specialized machines like giant mechanical beasts rumble across the fields. They are designed with incredible precision to gently lift the beets from their earthy beds. These harvesters carefully slice off the leafy tops, which are often left on the field to enrich the soil for the next year's crop. The fat, sugary roots are then gathered and loaded onto enormous trucks. A great convoy begins its journey, carrying millions of beets from the quiet countryside to the bustling sugar factory where their amazing transformation is about to start. The journey to the factory is just the first step in a long and fascinating process. The sheer scale of this operation is quite extraordinary. A single factory can receive thousands of tons of beets every single day during the harvest season, which can last for several months. These factories are often built close to the farming regions to ensure the beets arrive as fresh as possible. The fresher the beet, the more sugar it contains, so speed is important. The trucks line up one after another, creating a constant flow of raw material. It is a carefully orchestrated dance between nature's cycle and human ingenuity, all leading to the one goal of unlocking the sweetness held within each and every root. Before the real magic begins, the beets are stored in massive piles, sometimes as large as buildings. These mountains of beets are a temporary holding place, but they are managed with great care. It is vital to keep them at the right temperature and with good air circulation to prevent the sugar from breaking down. You might even see water being sprayed over them to keep them cool. Think of it as a waiting room for vegetables, where they rest before their big adventure inside the factory walls. From here, they will be moved by powerful streams of water, flowing through special channels called flumes, which carry them directly into the factory to begin the next stage of their incredible journey. Once inside the factory, the beets' first stop is a much-needed bath. They have traveled from the fields and are still covered in soil, small stones, and leftover leaves. To get to the pure sugar, they must be perfectly clean. They tumble into a huge washing machine, a rotating drum filled with water, where they are tossed and turned, rubbing against each other. This process scrubs them clean, removing every last bit of dirt. Powerful jets of water give them a final rinse, ensuring they are spotless. This cleaning stage is absolutely crucial because any impurities could affect the final quality of the sugar. It is a noisy, wet, and wonderfully efficient process, preparing the beets for their transformation. After their thorough wash, the clean beets are ready for the slicer. They are transported on a conveyor belt to a machine that looks like a giant cheese grater. Inside this machine are incredibly sharp V-shaped knives that spin at high speed. As the beets pass through, they are sliced into thin, crinkly strips that look a bit like French fries. These strips are called cassettes. This slicing is done for a very important reason. It increases the surface area of the beet. By cutting the beet into many small pieces, it becomes much easier to get the sugar out. The more surface area there is, the more efficiently the hot water can wash the sugar from the beet cells in the next step. The slicing machines are marvels of engineering, working continuously day and night. The knives must remain razor-sharp to produce uniform cassettes, so they are checked and changed regularly by skilled technicians. The factory hums with the sound of this machinery, a constant rhythm of preparation. The air fills with a sweet, earthy smell as the beets are sliced open, releasing the first hint of the treasure they hold within. The freshly cut cassettes are now soft and pliable, a pale, greyish-white color, and they continue their journey on another conveyor belt, moving steadily towards the next and perhaps most important stage of the process, the extraction of their sweet juice. This entire initial phase, from the moment the beets enter the factory to the moment they are sliced into cassettes, is a perfect example of industrial efficiency. Nothing is wasted, not even the water used for washing. It is collected, cleaned and reused multiple times to conserve this precious resource. The stones and soil that were washed off the beets are also collected and often returned to the farmers' fields. It is a system designed to be as sustainable as possible, respecting the resources it uses. The clean, sliced cassettes are now perfectly prepared, ready to give up their sugary secret in the heart of the factory. Now we arrive at the heart of the sugar-making process. The beet cassettes are sent into a colossal long tank called a diffuser. Here they will meet hot water, which is pumped in to flow in the opposite direction to the cassettes. This clever method, called countercurrent exchange, is incredibly efficient. The hot water, around 70 degrees Celsius, gently coaxes the sugar out of the beet's cells. As the water moves along, it becomes more and more concentrated with sugar, while the cassettes, having given up their sweetness, move towards the exit. The result is a dark, sugary liquid known as raw juice. This juice contains not only sugar, but also many other substances from the beet. This raw juice, however, is not yet ready to become the sugar we know. It is murky and full of impurities, tiny bits of beet pulp, salts and other organic materials that must be removed. To clean it, a process called purification is used. First, milk of lime, which is simply chalk mixed with water, is added to the juice. This causes the impurities to clump together. Next, carbon dioxide gas is bubbled through the mixture. This gas reacts with the lime, forming chalk crystals that trap the impurities, making them heavy. These clumps then sink to the bottom of large tanks, leaving a much clearer, light brown sugar juice on top. This step is like a magic trick, using simple chemistry to clean the liquid. The purification process is often repeated to ensure the juice is as pure as possible. The clearer the juice, the whiter and purer the final sugar will be. After the impurities have settled, the clean juice is filtered to remove any remaining solid particles. What is left is a thin, sweet, pale yellow liquid, but it is still mostly water. The next challenge is to get rid of that water. To do this, the juice is sent to a series of large vessels called evaporators. Here, the juice is heated under vacuum, which allows the water to boil at a lower temperature. This saves a tremendous amount of energy and prevents the sugar from burning and turning into caramel. As the water evaporates, the juice becomes thicker and thicker, turning into a golden, syrupy liquid. This thick syrup now contains a very high concentration of sugar, but it is not yet crystalline. It has reached the final stage before the true magic happens, the creation of sugar crystals. The entire factory is designed to be a powerhouse of energy efficiency. The steam produced from boiling the juice in one evaporator is captured and used to heat the next one in the series. This clever recycling of heat means that very little energy is wasted, a testament to the brilliant engineering that makes this large-scale production possible. The stage is now set for the grand finale. The thick, purified syrup is now pumped into enormous vessels called vacuum pans. Here, the final transformation takes place. The pressure inside the pan is lowered, and the syrup is boiled one last time to remove even more water. At the perfect moment, a handful of tiny, microscopic sugar crystals are added to the mix. This is called seeding. These tiny seed crystals act as a starting point, and the sugar molecules in the thick syrup begin to attach themselves to them. Under the watchful eye of a sugar boiler, the crystals grow and grow, layer by layer, until the entire pan is filled with a thick mixture of sugar crystals and remaining syrup, known as massacrete. This thick massacrete is then poured into a machine that spins at incredibly high speeds, a centrifuge. A centrifuge works much like a salad spinner or the spin cycle on a washing machine. The inner part of the machine is a basket with very fine holes in it. As it spins, the powerful force flings the liquid syrup outwards through the holes, but the larger solid sugar crystals are left behind, forming a thick wall of pure white sugar inside the basket. The crystals are then given a quick wash with hot water to rinse off any last traces of syrup. What remains is a damp, glistening pile of pure white sugar, the treasure that began its journey as a humble root in a field. But the story does not end here. The sugar is not quite ready for your kitchen. It is still damp and needs to be dried. The wet sugar crystals tumble through a large rotating drum with hot air blowing through it, which removes the remaining moisture. The result is the familiar, free-flowing, granulated sugar we all know. The dried sugar is then passed over screens that sort the crystals by size to ensure they are all uniform. Finally, this sparkling product is stored in giant silos before being packaged into bags of all sizes, ready to be sent to shops, bakeries, and food producers all over the world. The long journey from the muddy field is finally complete. And what of the parts that were left behind? In a sugar factory, nothing is wasted. The beet pulp, the fibrous material left after the sugar has been extracted, is pressed to remove excess water and then dried. It becomes a highly nutritious animal feed, especially for cattle. The molasses, the dark, sticky syrup spun off in the centrifuge, is also valuable. It contains sugar that could not be crystallized and is used in animal feed for producing yeast and even for making alcohol. The entire beet is used, making the process remarkably sustainable. So the next time you see a spoonful of sugar, you can marvel at the incredible journey it has taken, from a simple root to a sweet crystal, through a world of powerful machines and clever science.